Because worse, that there was all this stuff going on college campuses. You didn't say anything. So in light of that, what Trump's doing right now isn't so bad. First of all,
the campaign is over, right? Campaigning against President Obama, they are now the president of the United States. And, Donald Trump is, and his supporters are part of that. It's what he does now that matters. Well, why isn't he striving to be the best versus comparing himself to someone whom I disagree with, but he says didn't do enough? This is a man, let's not forget, who failed to mention Jewish people in his Holocaust Remembrance official statement. So he does not have a good track record here. I agree with Senator Santorum that there were things that were very troubling that happened on college campuses. And I, in fact, spoke out about some of them when I was in office.
Did the White House bury them? Did the White House not talk about them?
I want to just clarify for viewers what they were. They were debates and discussions about whether groups could come onto campus who had a point of view that I disagree with, that Senator Santorum disagrees with, about Israel and Zionism. And it became a very passionate First Amendment debate. And I'm not in any way saying what was said at times, which was anti-Semitic, was okay. But we're talking here. That was a debate about First Amendment that violence and desecrating cemeteries. And again, I just don't do more. This isn't about being compared to your predecessor. It's about defining yourself. And does President Trump want to be defined as someone who fights hate crimes and supports Jewish people?
Let's bring in another factor. This Hillary Clinton put out a
Look, I agree with this. I agree the president should be more forceful. But let's be honest. The president has been incredibly forceful in his support for the between the state of Israel and the United States in the White House that we haven't seen in 8 years. I mean, this president is solidly and squarely behind the Jewish people when it comes to Israel. About what's going on, continuing on college campuses. And Christine, you're whitewashing this debate. Oh, it was a highbrow debate on the First Amendment. No, it wasn't.
Well, be that as it may,
people out there, there were people out there attacking Jews.
Rick,
you just said, and we can come on in another segment and have a conversation. Different than threat for Israel and President Trump has been great for Israel and Jewish people in Israel. What about Jewish people in the United States? What about all Americans who don't want anyone attacked violently for any reason, but nonetheless in the cancer that is a hate crime? I just don't understand, particularly since you're saying that he's tried so hard to have a deeper relationship with Israel, why he wouldn't speak out. It just doesn't make any sense, and it calls into question hypocrisy on the part of his administration. And maybe, I don't know, he's not speaking out because he thinks it'll upset some of his
Oh, wait a minute. I mean, Donald Trump. But I mean, if you talk to anybody in the pro-Israel movement, and they will tell you the bedrock of that is the evangelical Christian community in this country. In fact, the folks who have been walking away are liberal Jews who are walking away from Israel, not conservative Christians.
But Rick, we're talking about hate crime. You keep going back to the president's position on Israel. And people America. So if the president feels in such a deep kinship with the Jewish state of Israel, why won't he speak out here? And I think if you look back to statements that were made not by him or the vice president, but by people at rallies supporting him, you heard discriminatory statements against many people, including Jewish Americans. You can't erase his inaction, his not mentioning Jewish people on Holocaust Remembrance Day, and not speaking out personally when he speaks out about Chris on a regular basis, speaks out on Saturday Night Live every Sunday like clockwork. I mean, this is a man who expresses his opinions freely.
All right, so the question is, Rick, why do you think he doesn't say more?
I go back to, I don't know. Look, again, I'll repeat it for the third time. I believe he should be
right,
speaking
but
out on this.
I'm not asking you for your personal position on what should be done. I'm asking you, why do you think he doesn't? I mean, even your case about the anti-Semitism on college campuses. He hasn't said anything about that either. But why not? When it's such if I find the people who did it, I'll punish them. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, look, if you look at the fact that the people who are responsible for a lot of this anti-Semitism that we're seeing, I hate to say it, a lot of it is let's lay out that fact, and
I don't know that that's a fact, by the way.
Oh, that is true.
I don't know that that's a fact.
Absolutely true.
You have white haters historically, or who target the Jews in this country.
That's not what's going on college campuses, Chris.
Well,
white haters.
We're talking
let's say the truth about this.
We're talking about cemeteries and JCC centers.
Right. Dismissed. But I'll tell you what. You guys have no problem going after Muslims for things they don't do, let alone what they do. So why doesn't Trump go after the Muslims who are doing this on college campuses against the Jews?
I mean, there's no evidence to support
I'm for him doing that,
Sorry.
Chris.
What?
No, I'm for him doing that. I think he should.
I know.
I'm asking you, why
does he not do it?
I don't know the answer to that, other than the fact that maybe the fact that he's been so relationship, maybe he sees that as the way he's communicating that message. That's the only thing I can think of.
Because he never doubles down on Twitter. He never repeats himself. He never goes after somebody.
I have a suggestion. I have a suggestion to why, and I think that this was played out in real time when a Hasidic Jewish reporter who says he is supportive of the president asked him a question about this, and the president either didn't listen or misheard it and saw it as an attack and started saying, hey, I'm the least anti-Semitic person you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
But I think he was being reactive to something. Here's my suggestion. Because you and people on the left and a lot of independent people and just, people who want a tolerance in this country have attacked the president for this, either by not being critical or that it's happening on his watch in increased proportions. You've made it something that he now takes as a personal criticism. And the way President Trump deals with personal criticism is to reject it. So that you have made the topic of attacks against Jews and threats against Jews into something that he is somehow responsible for. He rejects that notion, so he will not pay any mind to the assertion.
He's responsible for what he says and does, not just as an American citizen, as the president of the United States. I know from my work as running a crime victims assistance agency that dealt with hate crimes, the way to stop hate is unequivocally for decent people to stand up and speak out. If that's the psychological makeup of how he sees things, that's unfortunate for him. But there are bigger things than how he feels offended. And again, if he had just done a tweet immediately after it happened, nobody would have said anything. And trust me, if you're a victim and you hear the president speak out, it makes you feel supported.
Tomorrow is another day. We'll see if he does anything. Rick, I was thinking about this whole theory in Mass Sunday was the turn the other cheek Matthew gospel, and I was wondering, I wonder if the president went to service, I wonder if that was the gospel, and I wonder what those words mean to him in terms of dealing with his critics. But Rick, thank you for making the case, as always. Christine, as well. Allison?
Okay, Chris. President Trump's been in office just over a month. So running high. That's next.